and we'll roll the old printing press along. We'll roll the old printing press along. We'll roll the old printing press along, and we'll all hang out in kind. Howdy, folks, it's Johan, your favorite little ink blob, back at it today with some more Celeste. But even more beautifully, you may notice that this time around, we have 7 gold hearts. We did it! The 7 C's are vanquished. Oh no, what has happened to chat? Oh dear. Oh no. Like legit, why is chat not doing the thing? Because why does chat keep migrating to my other monitor? I do not understand this, but there we go. The curse is back. Hey, Lumery gifted you a sub, sick! But welcome in Skull Glitch, welcome in Robert, welcome in everyone else. Hope it is going well, and thank you for the hydrate, Robert. There we go. Congratulations on making a commander deck, Skull Glitch. Commander is incredibly fun, so hell yeah. Whew, I'm exhausted. Yep. We need to get that one figured out. But yeah, first week at doing 2 different jobs because whoop, oh dear, and of course my controller is starting to fall apart on me. The A button, I'm not pressing the A button, it's just being depressed. There we go. Woohoo! Good luck with 8C and work. Thank you much. Yeah, it's honestly, it's not that bad. I did not realize that I was apparently going into a managerial retail position, which is not the worst considering that gives me some more good experience for certain library positions, but hoo boy. It's more than I was expecting for basically a second job. Yep. Well, it's beautiful because it's not management, it's just being a cashier who gets paid like an extra $2 an hour to sometimes be a manager. So you don't get like full management wages and you're not like fully responsible for everything, but you also still have to worry about everything because you might end up being in charge. Yeah, it's not too terrible. It's just like, I'm not sure it's worth the extra $2 an hour compared to just showing up and helping people check out and stocking shelves. Especially when I'm trying to focus on libraries, but we're doing what we can. Still putting in a lot of applications for other library positions, which got another rejection this morning, hell yeah, but we're chug-a-lugging. Hey! Welcome in Silver, welcome in Tim, how is it going? We love hypers, it should be fun. Yahoo! Hope it's going well for everyone. We get to wrap our heads around how to hyper properly now. The house always wins. Very nice. Is it, like a sort of politics-based deck? Last night, everyone I joined started glitching out of nowhere when you joined them. Weird. Ah! Wait, hold up. Is the flip not working? Brain. Hold up. Flip. Okay. Flip is functional. My brain, you know, sometimes you do a flip. Sometimes you do a flip and, you know, you just can't even pay attention to it. Gambling deck. Your commander is Mr. House President and CEO. Oh, one of the Fallout ones. Basically roll die. Nice. Oh, okay, we got 2 in a row. D-flip. Forever how long? What's forever how long? Oh, oh, okay. This new silver music. Ba 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 da ba. 2 horses and happy birthday favorites. I fully admit I still have not listened to the new silver music and I feel bad. Kaor. Boop. No, not your music? Oh, BCNR. 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 Black Country New Road. Oh, okay. I mean, I do still feel bad that I haven't gotten around to listening to your new stuff, but... Okay, 3 out of 4. If the texts were added intentionally before getting an introduction. I mean, I suspect that a lot of the tech wasn't, I suspect a lot of the tech was just sort of natural outcomes of how they were trying to get the mechanics to work, and then they decided to make it work in new and interesting ways. Your new album is... I still want to listen to it. I feel very bad because my ability to listen to music for some reason is just, like, utter garbage, and has been for the past few years. So it's like, I want to listen to it. Even if it's not that good, I want to support your music, because you do cool stuff. But Brain does have the air ring when you do special tech. Oh, true, so animation. Unless, I mean, is that specifically for the tech, or is that just for high velocity? Whoo! We did it! Awesome! This looks utterly terrible. Heard it many times and still not got bored. March 2 OST, however, goddamn. Nice. Okay. Sure that technique won't show up again? Yeah, definitely. We are finally free of it. Glad that it only appears in one room ever. Definitely. Some precision lava block flings. No. Oh man. I may need to get a new controller. I may need to try and get an actual controller this time, because I was noticing I was doing the episode of Nier that will come out this evening. I was doing that last night, and the right bumper has stopped. You can still click it, but it doesn't look like a bumper anymore. It's mostly recessed, and now the jump button is really starting to stick. So, hey, it was good. It's lasted me, what, like 6 months, and it got me going on stuff, but, yeah, maybe I should actually buy one that does better. What a concept. We offer peace in Phyrexian. Yeah, no, absolutely. I thought I responded to that. Did I blank on that? But no, I think that's super cool. Because Phyrexian is something I've been very interested in it as, like, I enjoy it from a flavor perspective, that, they have decided to build a conlang and, like, a couple of words like Yawgmoth and whatnot. It's interesting because of the lore to me, but I have not been personally that interested in, like, actually learning how to speak it, but the fact that you are, that's super sick. Welcome in, Nobo. We will say it very clearly. Welcome in. Glad to have you. I traded my keyboard yesterday. Oh dear. Johan has an old controller and I have a new one. Well, remember, I mean, this is still a new controller to me. It's only been like 6 months. It's just endured a great deal and was kind of a knockoff. No C button though. Look, man, I like my Xbox 360. It's basically the only gaming console I've ever had. Boop, 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 Oh, from the Tarkir Dragonstorm? Sick. What drink makes me scared? Oh, that got spilled on the keyboard. That is a mighty fine question. I was picturing just water, but Yes, nice. Man, again, I've been having such trouble, like, keeping track of it. I was like, oh, you know, maybe I'll check out Aether Drift, and then suddenly Dragonstorm is out. I'm like, what is with this product cycle? Please. And it sucks, especially because Dragonstorm, I like Tarkir. I'm interested in it, so we'll see if I can get the motivation to actually go play with the cards a bit. But how do I prevent someone from shutting down a conversation by saying we are not getting into this right now? Also, welcome in, Carsey. I mean, that requires a lot of context. But, like, very, very basically, Carsey, I don't think you really can. You can try and force an issue. We're not getting into this right now. Okay, but it's urgent and I need to get to it. Is pretty much the only thing I can think to say reasonably, but people, you can't really compel people to talk about stuff, and even if you could, it's usually not going to go super well. But you're just a kid, and I mean, look, I fully admit that I was a weird kid who got used to talking with adults, but I don't care about what you have to say. Fundamentally, again, going back to my original point, you can't compel people to care. There's not a magic thing, there's not a magic phrase that can be said to make them all of a sudden listen to you if they're trying to shut down a conversation they don't want to have. I think just basically saying, look, this is urgent, and we need to have that conversation, is basically the closest I can really get you. That is the, I understand that you don't want to have it right now, I'm acknowledging that, that does not work. And if they still don't, then you can have the conversation at them, but, you know, it's one-sided, so. I wish that there was some sort of magic wand, but anything more requires a lot more context. That probably cannot be conveyed in a Twitch chat. They showed Silksong for 6 seconds on Switch 2 Direct? I did not. I really don't keep up with video game news, which is funny as someone who is being a gaming streamer. Switch 2 hype, then price $90 for game. Oh god. Oh, not too much sugar in the drink? Good. Good. And the set comes out in 4 days? Yeah, because I saw the pre-release that Loading Ready Run does. And I mean, it looks neat. I like Behold a Dragon as a cool mechanic, but whoa. Just buy the games online. Costs $80. Oh yes, such an improvement. That's criminal. Me who feels stressed out buying a game if it's like 25 bucks. Almost half done with 8. See, oh yeah, definitely, you know, because we finished the first room and there's only 3 rooms. Woohoo! Deltarune in 2 months. Oh, sick! Nintendo gave us 3 screenshots. Wahoo! Here's about mainstream shops when you can buy it from random companies for 3 times as cheap. I mean, other than, like, concerns about are you actually getting the product, and a whole bunch of other things, sure. Although, I guess in the modern day, when you're buying a game from a major company, you still have to worry whether you're actually getting the product, or if it will just go away. Ba-dump crash. Usually someone doesn't want to talk about something, I'd suggest you listen to them, because, sure, you might want to talk about, but with my experience, people can... And that, yeah, it's fundamentally... If it is an urgent thing, because I can think of situations where it may be something where it's like, hey, I need to get X bit of paperwork filled out. I'm a minor, and I need you to sign off on that. I can see that as something where people might go, meh, I've got other things to do. I've got taxes to pay or whatnot. And you can't, like, you can't just let that slide. You can't just go, oh. But you also still fundamentally can't get them to care either. So it's tough. But yes, generally speaking, if you have the leeway, listen to it and respect that they are not going to listen to it right now, even if it's for bad reasons. But if it can't wait, just trying to be clear that it cannot wait and articulate that. And that's basically all I think you can realistically do. Hey, welcome in, Ollie. How goes? Incon? 7C is harder than 8C? I mean, that's the hope. That's the hope. We've got some time. This is... I will say, anyone who is still yet to really, like, have a career, I mean, I guess I'm really still yet to have a career, but anyone who is yet to, like, go out and be working jobs, just keep in mind, retail is, I think, a decent place to start, and everyone should do their time in retail, because you learn a lot. Just remember, scheduling sucks for retail, so this is a 3-day weekend for me, so this is my 3rd day of it, and then I've got a 5-day week, so we're kind of shifting when stuff is off. It's a lot, but we've got time today is what I'm trying to say. So, woohoo! Still probably aiming for 2-ish hours because I do have other things to do, like more job applications, but still. We'll see what we can do. If we're close, we'll push it. Mind that you say that, Johan. Did you know that some game cards for the Switch 2 don't actually have the game in them? Instead, they act as a key to download the game in your console, and then act as a key to access that game. So, like, online shopping, but more inconvenient, and it costs more. Woo! Great! Man, I love it. You're good, just overstimulated, head hurts? Aw, I'm sorry. Well, Obviously, my soothing voice will work as a great brain massage, right? Right? Definitely. That's like a news per day, even though it was like 8s of footage on April 2nd and 3 screenshots today. But, you know, yeah, average it out. Love learning hyper and then not using again. Yeah, never again. Hey, welcome in, Ruby Ganba. How's it going? The eyes watcheth. I've not played Chapter 9 yet. We finally made it to 8C, so we're doing that and yapping a lot. Boop, boop, boop. Own a butterfly flat practice knife. Oh, I've seen people mess around with those. I had some friends 3D print stuff. They are fun to just move around. I buy 24 sticks of dynamite. Will you blow up something with me? I mean, depends. Do we have a large bit of private property to do it on, so we can just, like, do it legally? Because if so, absolutely. But, oh boy. Dynamite is spooky, man. The glycerin tends to leak out, even though it's more stable than it used to be. 8C gaming, indeed. Now, if you have not been here before, I mean, first time chat, but you know what I mean. If you have not been peering in before, just a heads up. I think I am secretly a just chatting streamer who happens to play games in the background, so buckle in for some yapping. A little part of a story yesterday, so proud. Oh, that's super impressive. Doing any amount of writing, doing any amount of creative work is always so cool. Love some yapping. Indeed. I saw the baby camel. It's so fluffy. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that. Saw how the UI menu for Switch 2 looks. It's still so basic. I mean, personally, I feel like basic is usually good when it comes to user interfaces, but I don't know. I'm someone who likes to keep my room as stripped down as possible. You learned how to use this Celeste map editor? Intriguing. I'm scared for what Celeste maps will be born from your mind. Love how I joined Nintendo Treehouse stream for 5 minutes and it was just people spamming drop the price. Oi. Deltarune tomorrow? Is that when it comes out? That was 2 months, folks were saying. Also heard a funny rumor about how some Switch 2 versions of Switch 1 games, they're literally just a Switch 1 cartridge with a download code for the upgrade patch? Oh. Oh, buddy. Oh, no. Muffled voice. Johan, is the dynamite leak? Yeah. I mean, that's, God, it's probably been a few... I think we talked about this during a Jump King stream, but, you know that the guy who made Dynamite is also the guy who funded, the Nobel Peace Prize, right? Because very basically the story goes, as I understand it, newspapers erroneously reported that he was dead, and he got to read basically his obituary before he, you know, died. And it was not exactly favorable, because while Dynamite was an improvement over other explosives, a flip, yay! It still, yeah, had a tendency to leak, especially in, like, high temperature variations, and it caused a lot of accidents. There were a lot of people that were left without limbs and such because of Dynamite. And so, basically, he was a fairly wealthy man, because turns out, making a component that is integral to one of the major industries of your time tends to help you, make you a bit wealthy. Basically, it, encouraged him to try and think about his legacy, and then, set up the fund for the Nobel Peace Prize. I believe his name was Alfred Nobel. And from what I can tell, there's not actually any record of the whole, like, obituary story, but it still seems like someone who probably had a fair bit on his conscience trying to do something for his legacy, which I think is reasonable. Pancake flip. I'm a pancake now? A Johann cake? Panhan? Dynamite only explodes when hit hard, not when lit afire. So, dynamite is, I believe, glycerin? Or nitroglycerin? My chemistry is not fantastic, but it is a fairly unstable explosive stored in a mixture of clay and a few other chemicals to try and make it more stable for transport. So, yes, dynamite, when properly stored, it will only explode with basically a percussive Percussive hit. Nitroglycerin. Thank you. But nitroglycerin has a tendency to leak out of it. Nitroglycerin on its own is the most stable of things, and tends to go off a lot more frequently. Oh, I was like, man, why can't we dash there? Right, because we're in a place where the dashing don't work. Oh, 300 followers? Yo! Huge congratulations, Sigma. That's huge. December 32nd. 200 still awesome. Impressivo. So now this guy in the comments that just calculates the chance of Silk Song tomorrow. How is it being calculated? Yes, very late, Hod. Sorry, Alyssa. I was dealing with another job rejection letter. Not letter, phone call. But thanks to whoever followed me without knowing. Mwahaha. The surprise follow. Today we started Organic Naming 2, The Revenge of the Carbons. Oh no. Do I like breadsticks? Do you even have to ask such a question? Who would I be? Who would Johan be if I did not like breadsticks? Truly ridiculous. Why would people job reject me? Because I am applying to to a library job, and libraries tend to have a lot of people who are really interested in books and then spend way too much on their education to get a Master of Library and Information Science, and then begin starting their climb through a library. Yo! Okay. I feel good about getting that, doing that last chunk. Like, PDQ. So, now we've got the final room, which will surely be easy. Maybe a little drunk? Sure. Just a little. Yeah, no, it's a highly competitive field, and I only have 6 months in it currently. Which makes it tough, but I'm trying to scattershot, and we'll see. This, I will say, the position I just got a rejection from today, it was really nice because I made it past the first round of interviews to the second one, so like this was an actual like job offer or job rejection, which is a pretty good thing considering that I'm very early on in it. It's just, man, it's really hard to make the jump from paging job to anything with customer service, but retail hopefully helps me go, hey look, I have current customer service experience, and a number of these also have like managerial duties, like being in charge of a building to a certain extent, so we're chugging. Hopefully before the end of the year, ideally sooner, but hopefully before end of year I can get my foot in the door in a like more than 15-hour a week library position. That would be awesome. Oh, you got accepted to your internship for the suicide hotline. That's super sick. That's awesome. That's so cool. It'll be work experience so you can be a real therapist one day. No, that's super awesome. Suicide hotlines, again, I did a brief volunteer stint on one. I had a lot of trouble with it, not because of like the emotional component, but man, not being able to hear when people are talking to me was really tough because the phone connection sucked. So I hope that you've got good phone connection. I hope that you get some really good experience there and help out a lot of folks. Huge congratulations. That's super exciting, Alyssa. A suicide hotline, yeah. Alyssa has just been accepted for an internship there. Long room? Probably. This is the third room, which tends to be the long one. Cis and trans are actual prefixes for organic naming. Hearing those two words come out of a man that's way older than me is hilarious. Dun dun dun. Want Olive Garden breadsticks? I've never had them. I've never had them either. Okay, let's see. Telescope to see the heart on this one. Uh-oh. Is it a long, long room? Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, yeah, it's just on the other side of the room. Oh god, and we have to balance the lava the entire time. This is just going to be turn brain off and go. Fired from Olive Garden for pissing in the breadstick oil. I don't really want to get into the logistics of that, but that sounds like a really great way to get some very unpleasant burns. Also, because the song from Rhythm Heaven Fever actually got very popular in TikTok, it's Screwbots too. It's very Egyptian sounding, so a lot. Okay, gotcha. How do people play Celeste on keyboard? Apparently better than me. Very easy, first try, surely. Definitely. Technically vent out to Alyssa by accident, ignore the country difference. I mean, like, in theory, yes, if you call a suicide hotline that they happen to be working on. Whoop. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Vent to me whenever you want. Be happy to help you with whatever your troubles are. Very kind. Ah! Oh dear. Reading Shimeji Simulation for the 4th time also, I might be going insane. No, sometimes you just need comfort reading. This is not going fantastically. Okay. Nope. Extremely drunk at the moment, probably won't be able to do anything. This is fair. Are you trying to suggest to me that drunk therapy is not the ideal form of it? Crazy. When you say half your leg is green, like, is it molding? This is how to make a horizontal rising lava level. For maximizing stress, I suppose. It was blue. This is not reassuring me that much. Drunk Alyssa therapist. I mean, does that not sound like a show? Just like, alright, today on Drunk Therapy, we have a therapist that's downed 3 entire bottles of cognac. And today we have someone who's suffering from X, Y, and Z. We have 1 hour. Let's see what happens. This is good advice. Oh, that would be so terrible, but quite funny. In a very terrible way. Hurt yourself very bad? That's not great. Is that why your leg is Oh, is it a bruise? Is that... Because I know bruises can sometimes look a bit green, but... Boop, boop, boop. I feel like that's better than, like, suffering from gangrene, but still concern. Woohoo! Okay. No! We were doing so well! But in a video game, be proud of your death count, because it's learning. So British? What did I say so British? On your 4-day streak of not smoking cigarettes. Woohoo! Congratulations! It's a bruise, a very big bruise. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I understand better now. I think the only time I've ever had a bruise that was, like, green was after I became the, basically, target dummy for some fencing practice. Because, someone needed to learn how to flesh properly, which is basically, rather than a proper lunge, you stick your arm out and then run at them, and you're supposed to let your arm bend so that it still pokes them and triggers, but isn't jamming your entire weight behind it into one point without yielding. This person did not get the whole bend your arm aspect of it. And I got fleshed by them probably like 20 times to help them practice, and oh boy, on the same shoulder, that was not a pretty bruise at the end of the day. Ah, no! An emotive Mountain Dew can I once bit into? Today on Drunk Therapist, are you guys here to talk about your problems as identical twins? No? Sure, it's just me here. Uh-oh, wait a moment. Well, a lot of therapy is just helping people accept themselves rather than actually fixing anything about them. Yep. Because yeah, it's like the two major forms of therapy that I see as being fairly helpful. Like there is always like proper Freudian psychotherapy, which has some applications, but generally you've got cognitive behavioral therapy, which is let's talk about the things that are basically disruptive thoughts and behaviors you're having, and try and figure out the source of those and different ways to restructure your thought about them, or at least ways to, when you have those thoughts, restructure how you are dealing with that. And then you've got more like Rogerian positive psych, which is dealing more with, all right, so how does that make you feel? Where you're basically just trying to like let the person come to their own conclusions and be a friendly ear, which I think also has a lot of good places. But yeah, it's not, therapy is unfortunately not wave a magic wand and you're fixed. I love some CBT. So, oh yeah, no, that's, I've seen a number of therapists who are like a cognitive behavioral therapist who will put that in like their social media bio and then be told by friends, hey, maybe you want to think about that a bit. And thank you for the hydrate. Sorry, I did hydrate. I forgot to click the button. Electroshock therapy is your favorite? Ayo. I will say, it's utterly fascinating to me that electroshock therapy does actually get used sometimes for treating depression and, like, has a clinically proven positive effect. Why does zapping the brain make it not so bad at regulating its happy chemicals? Dunno, but apparently sometimes it does, so in the last resort case. There's only so many three-letter acronyms, right? Yeah, no. It's not cognitive behavioral therapy's fault, but it's still quite funny. The crash lizard? Huh? Oh, Rain World. Gotcha. Once had therapy due to depression, I was glad to lose the diagnosis of depression. Woohoo! I also had some therapy for that, and never reached a conclusion with that, but basically figured out that a lot of what I needed to do was just suck it up more. Which I do not think is good general advice, but just for me, a lot of it was I knew what to do, I just needed to do it, and a therapist ain't gonna fix that. I'm your favorite anime? I'm anime? Wait, I'm being drawn by Japanese artists? I have some questions about the nature of my existence all of a sudden. Diagnosing you with bad at video games? Now that is a very fair diagnosis. Anything is anime if you stretch the definition enough. I feel like that is true of any word. Anything is X so long as you stretch the definition enough. Oof, we're gonna need a lot of therapy for that one. Yep. Bum 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 ba-dum bum. With only. You're the only one here who knows this. I have a question. How hard is it to put achievements in games? I mean, like, I will say, not as someone who's done a lot of game dev, but as someone who's looked into it, a lot of the difficulty of putting achievements into games mostly just stems from where's the achievement hosted. Because, like, if you're just doing it in a standalone game, that's certainly not that difficult, because that's all just kind of internal. You're just setting conditions and a payoff. If you're doing it achievements through like a website or distributor, it's probably a wee bit more difficult, just because you have to like interface with whatever their system is for it. But I assume things like Steam make it incredibly easy to do so, so probably not that hard. Just add a line of code to connect to Steam and another line to award an achievement. Yep, that sounds... seems correct. Yeah, so apparently the ADHD syndrome is that you connect different thoughts and concepts very quickly, usually ending off somewhere completely unrelated. Speaking of anime, I recently binged Squid Girl, an anime that got a collab with Splatoon. Fascinating. Huh. Now, would I rather make 100,000 a year doing absolutely nothing, or make a million a year cleaning toilets? Now, so this is a tough one, mostly from the perspective of. So I honestly, cleaning toilets for $1 million a year would not bother me. I would be very happy with that and my early retirement. Plus, it's a job that needs to get done, and people should respect janitorial service a lot more than they do. Plus, I think I've talked about it, I like janitors because, you know, same root word as the god Janus, right? And I think that's pretty cool. I shall be the guardian of change in doorways and passages. But well, and see, that's what I was going to say, Sigma. I would rather spend that time doing something. So if it's 100,000 a year to do nothing, as in I can use my time however I want, so I'm just passively getting $100,000 a year, awesome, I will absolutely take that. But if that's literally I have to sit there and do nothing from 9 to 5 to get that 100,000, I think that would drive me utterly insane. So I guess that's sort of an interpretation issue that I need to know. If it's just sitting there, then you could not pay me enough, right? So I'm choosing to interpret that as doing nothing of you have to go show up and pretend you're working, like you cannot use your time freely. You're just not actually having to do any real work. And I think that would drive me utterly insane. So I'd rather spend $1 million, or get paid $1 million a year to clean toilets. Plus, like, you know, turn on a podcast, right? Like, you can be consuming some interesting content that can be, like, when I'm driving. I'm listening to audiobooks and I'm listening to podcasts. Show up and pretend you're working, that's like 25% of jobs already. And it drives me utterly insane. I like to actually do things with my time, which is part of why I'm like, libraries! Let me do constant, like, reference work for people, please! Okay, so literally just passive income? In that case, yeah, I'd go with the passive income. Because, like, yeah, then that's literally just a bonus on top of everything else, where I essentially just don't have to worry about money. So, yeah. I would go with that one, because that would be pretty sweet to just exist. Doing absolutely nothing is just like, absolute agony. Yep. Read some articles saying the large percent of jobs are just fake work. Well, so a lot of jobs, I have not done any sort of office work, right? But I have friends who do, and I have certainly known quite a few folks who are significantly older than me and been working in a career for a while. And I think there are a lot of jobs that are essentially middle management. And a lot of middle management is basically just there to kind of justify itself. Middle management is one of those categories of jobs where it's important when things are going wrong and utterly unimportant most of the time. But a lot of people feel the need to justify the time that they're on the payroll. But if it was just accepted, that's like, no, like, we don't need to have the daily stand-up for an hour so that you can feel like you're justifying your paycheck. And instead, let the manager, like, go basically do some normal work and just have that be the response. I don't know, I'm rambling, but basically, I think a lot of work is basically, there's a lot of work out there that exists to basically fill out reports that can be automated, or exists to try to keep things running smoothly, but people don't know how to basically stay out of it for most of their day so that things do actually run smoothly, rather than trying to come up with a lot of ways to show that, no, really, I'm doing a great job of making it run smoothly. So I don't know if they're basically fake jobs, but I think there are a lot of jobs that exist out there that are not, they're probably not very fulfilling because they could be easily automated, or most of the time you aren't actually strictly needed. Could you wave dash off the beginning traffic platform to keep a dash to use in each crystal, allowing you to dash at the bumper section? Not a clue. That may be something to consider. Welcome in. I want Mick Cosmetics. Wait. Oh, right, because what we just learned was a hyper. Yeah, so for clarity, this is my first playthrough, so this is the first time we have learned the mechanics that you naturally learn up to this point. But in my brief time at McDonald's, I most appreciated the few managers who didn't actively make the workers less productive. Yep. Let's say you have a button in front of you, and every time you press it, you get $100,000. However, also a random person you do not know in any way dies. How many times would you press it? None. I would not. That is not worth it to me. You could, but you go at light speed all the way through the dream block section. Your business is running smoothly all the time in such a way that obsoletes middle management, then it's probably not growing and will stagnate. True, but I think that there's a lot of time where middle management... Also, welcome in, Impact. I think there's a lot of times where middle management is something where you very frequently do not need a full 8-hour workday for. And I think that that is something that people have a lot of difficulty with, is recognizing that their job they do not need to be working constantly. There's a lot of times where it seems that there's introduction of software and a whole bunch of tracking paperwork that gets done basically to fill up the day as opposed to actually doing anything productive. Then you're overstaffed on middle managers. Yes. Very, very true. But I think that's the case for many things, because there's a lot of, again, from what I've seen, a lot of corporate advancement. They tend to be a lot more heavy on management than they probably should be. And I suspect that's just because... basically because of reward structure. But I don't know. Maybe I am completely wrong. I have not personally worked in an office environment. But... practice it when you got tired of failing in 7C? Gotcha. My team at work, we have 3 middle managers for a team of about 20, which seems about right? Yeah. That's... what? So that's about 1 for every 6, let's say? So basically small team. Yeah. That seems reasonable. As opposed to my retail job, where I'm technically, I think, I'm a shift lead. Which I'm not a store manager, but I am air quotes a manager, and I am one of 4 shift leads. We have 1 cashier who just turned in their notice, so there will be no one actually below me as a manager, and then we have an assistant manager and a proper manager. So stuff like that, and I have heard about far worse situations in offices and such. AC teaches you hyper. Okay, so it is the hyper rather than wave, because I was like, we certainly just learned something. Maybe they put people on management when they already have enough people to finish a project and they need something else something for everyone to do. Well, I will say in like software, what I've seen happen a lot, and I don't know if that is again common or just my experience and a couple of folks that I've spoken to, but I see a lot of people who get promoted into management and like project management specifically, who are really great developers and have basically no knowledge of how to manage things well, which I think is something that also happens, is people get promoted for doing a good job in one of the basically working roles into a managerial position, which, to be clear, is still work, but it's a very different style of work. And just because you're good at, just because you're good at knowing the math behind things and filling out the reports, or you're good at flipping burgers, or any number of other things, does not mean that you're good at helping people work efficiently together. No! Doing the hyper at the start is quite fun, though. Did it quite a bit your first time? Yeah, doing the hyper is fun. Chaining that many is but the wave dashing the same, but with a jump at the beginning. Not a clue! Uh-oh. Just yeeting Maddie across the room will never cease to amuse me. I think that's fair. Wah! I was trying to see if we could get extra super far. Ah! Okay, so we can, but we go in way too low. Thank you for the hydrate. Boop, boop, boop. But yeah, I don't know. So, saying that 25% of jobs are do nothing, I would be very curious how the study was defining that. But I think that there are a lot of jobs that do not... I think there are a lot of jobs that basically do not need to exist as a 9 to 5. Probably a lot less, yeah. Because most jobs do have some sort of work to them. It's just a lot of times they are, as Impact was saying, if they aren't doing that, then you're probably overstaffed. which I think is one route that a lot of things go. And I think there's also a lot where it's just quite generally, you probably don't need the person to be there for 8 hours a day. Love to exaggerate for clickbait. Yep. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, there we go. But like, I don't know. I think there's also just like even working at the position I'm in as like a library page, I enjoy. And again, I'd like to get something where it's slightly more skilled labor and I'm actually like getting to use research and tech skills. But I am in a lot of cases doing a lot of shelf reading in a day, which is important work, to be clear, because shelf reading is, as much as we love y'all patrons, stop touching the shelves, god damn it. Because like genuinely I want people to browse, and I'm only half kidding, but it's sort of like, think, if you have worked retail or whatnot, think of facing the store, because people come in and then they touch things because they're looking at them for shopping, and then they put them back in the wrong place and you need to go fix it, and it's a constant battle. But basically with library shelves, you need to you need to make sure that they're still ordered so that you can actually, you know, retrieve the specific books that people are asking for on hold and all of that stuff. So we want people to browse because we want people to come into the library and be able to look at that, but also it's so frustrating because people don't know how to shelve back with the Dewey Decimal System, but instead of just putting it into carts so we can return them properly, they put them back in random places, so we then have to spend several hours looking all through the shelves to make sure that someone didn't put it back in the wrong place. And like, when a shelf is super bad, I don't mind shelf reading it that much because there's a lot of movement and it feels productive. But when you're spending 2 hours to find like 15 books out of place, it drives you mad. Pardon. How many deaths did I have for 7C? I don't know. I think it was around 3,000. I might be off by 1,000 in either direction, though. But I think it was close to 3,000. It took us a while. Guess chicken butt? What? But, it's, I don't know, what I was trying to say there is, so like, shelf reading is important and is something that is a constant task that is required at the library, but there's been a lot of days where we've been slow enough where I've been spending the majority of my shift doing that. Now, does that mean that I should be redundant? Not necessarily. 1,000 stars on Geometry Dash. Nice. No, because at the end of the day, there's some days where it's one person is simply not enough to get through all of the carts that need to be done because we have a super high volume. It's a very fluctuating demand on how many pages are needed at any given time, I think. So basically, I'm there in reserve to help fill in shifts and so on and so forth. But you could argue that there's a decent chunk of my day that is basically me, air quotes, doing nothing, because it's just the shelf reading process, which doesn't really ever fix things, it's maintenance work. I think there are a lot of jobs that are, to a certain extent, like that, where it's just there isn't necessarily enough time, enough work to fill up the entire chunk of time. But we do it anyway. Still miffed that your Geometry Dash project progress got reset. Wish you backed it up. Aw, yeah, that's frustrating. It sucks to lose progress. But yeah, so trying to find work where I guess you kind of enjoy the downtime work, I think is important. But you also, on to a certain extent, really don't know until you try. So change of plans won't refund the game, yeah, because outside the window. No. Yeah, we gotta get just the right angle there. Ah! is to play until the same point. Yeah, but that's demoralizing. Hyper without crouching? Oh, I see. I thought that crouching was integral to it. So that would take a while. Oof, at least 200 hours, probably. Okay. We're gaming. No! Oh god. Okay. No, because we need to hit the switch. But that was a new PB, and we're not even an hour in. This is doable. What if we start Farewell today? Supers give more vertically speed than horizontal speed than hypers. Huh. Uh-oh. Okay, yeah. That's... I don't know if trying to hyper off that is actually... yeah, productive, but we'll try it a little bit more. Okay. We going. Ah, no. Thankfully, Celeste is fine. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I am not getting the timing right there. There we go. Like, that feels smooth. That feels nice. Whoa. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, no, that was a big problem. Would have rather lost your Celeste save? I could go back to where you were in less... I suppose that's fair. If you've built up the skills for Celeste more, it's easier to redo. Kind of like if, you know, if my Jump King save went away, now I know I can do it in under an hour, so... I'd be more okay with that. Original save file for Celeste got all messed up. I don't have your first time playing in death counts. Oh, no. Sad. See, that's why the big brain move is to start a YouTube channel and record it. Why don't lobsters sell butter? Why don't lobsters sell something that makes them more delicious to be eaten? I mean, like, I don't think I'm going to be out here trying to sell, like, human kitchen spice. Like, I don't think Meat Han is out here trying to get eaten. You think lobsters are? Ah! When new Funko? Like, Funko Pop? Ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Want a fun fact? Yeah, remember how I played all the C sides and had like less than a minute in 2C? Do you like know your time in 8C? Please. You Funko Pop just dropped in general? Okay. Whoa, no. We'll take a look in a bit. Ah! I think I'm going to be more consistent just doing the double dash. 20 minutes. I don't know it took so long. This level is so difficult. 20 minutes. Damn. That's... yeah. Huh. I mean, sometimes the luck just simply be with ye. First try the second room. Damn. That's huge. Didn't know you could Funko yourself? Wow. Wait, so there's custom Funko stuff? No. It's just this big final room. Huh. Doesn't say tried, says tired. What? Yes, understood, but I give some grace with typos. Thank you very much, Jammer. Yeah, that felt real good to finally be done with that. No worries. To be honest, I'm surprised that anyone was still there after so many streams on 7C. But yeah, no, finally did it, and 8C feels so far like it's going a fair bit better. So, wahoo! Ah. I don't know. But no feet pics. The rest is a bit before Farewell's problems. Yeah. Ah, no. Yeah, Farewell is going to be a real treat, I'm guessing. But I will be excited to get back to an actual A-side. Get some story. No. Okay. Bam, bam. Okay. No. I hate when we go too far. Get too high up. And I feel like we want to wait a little bit more on that intentionally to make sure... Oh, God. Beat Farewell before 8C in your playthrough. Yeah. Oh, got the Mindwave demo. Super good? Hell yeah. We'll see, for, like, pre-records, I think this week we'll be wrapping up Refine Self. We hit, like, all of the big parts of it, but we're doing just, like, a few extras, so I will probably... I do really want to try and play the second game by Lizardry, which is, or I guess it's not... I think that Refine Self was actually the second game, but the other game, which is 7 Days to End with You. But I might see if I can do, like, I still haven't played the Lingo 2 demo, which I should probably do. So I want to do that, and then might also check out the Mindwave demo in between. Just like might want to do some like little things in between before I jump into another one that I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. Which, in fairness, it sounds like Mindwave is also great, but not it's not one that I've been like salivating in anticipation. Your own mind onto Mindwave? Hell yeah. Why don't Ink Blobs sell edible paper? What is okay? Where is this meme coming from? What has transpired where we're talking about things trying to sell things that make them more delicious? Doesn't have the same mechanics as Lingo 2, but it's a good time. Yeah. Well, and that's honestly, I think, almost part of the appeal to me of, oh hey, it's not even the game that I haven't purchased yet. Just remember the save file I played when I was also streaming. You should, like, continue that. Yeah. Lingo 2 demo doesn't out. Yeah. You on some plain Mindwave yet? Well, the demo is fairly short, so it won't take too long. Yeah, and that's I'm thinking. So, like, since I'll have sort of like a little break in the games, I may do that. May do Mindwave, may do Lingo 2. And honestly, I still need to really go back and replay Journey again. I went on like a binge with it like 2 years ago, but it's been a little while, and you know, it's a very good game, especially when you have some big life changes. So it feels apropos right now, I think. You just have Mountain Dew Baja Blast socks? Hell yeah. Want to make a Mindwave game of my own because that would be chaotic? Yes. Beat all of Lingo 2. Heek. Didn't play Lingo 1, so I can't compare, but probably equal. At some point, I've unfortunately spent my video game budget, although I might splurge a little since I have 2 months of working before I'm moving out, or at least before I'm like going and doing apartment tours kind of stuff. So having a little bit extra saved up, so might splurge and get Lingo 2 if I'm like, oh man, I really want to do it right now. But otherwise, we'll probably wait until the next big sale. Lingo 2 100% is going to take me a while. Lingo 1 100% took a huge while. A lot of help from Discord and online dictionary, but that's what we'll be for. Indeed. Well, yeah, that's the other thing, is once we beat this in Farewell, we'll do like a Celeste net or two, and then we'll get started on the Witness, which should also be a fun one for that kind of deal. Boop, boop, boop. So I will say, at the rate we're going, it may be a while before Lingo 2 stream, but because man, we will very much see how stuff settles out. I think my ultimate goal is I will try and be streaming at least once a week, like making time on one of my weekends. Boop, boop, boop. Just watched someone getting stuck on the witness yesterday. Woof. But it's just, unfortunately, working like actual 9-to-5s or stringing together a whole bunch of part-time work to try and get the equivalent, makes it a little tough to stream at the times that I've been doing that. So it's probably going to be reduced even further, but I will be trying very hard to make sure I'm getting at least one stream in per week. I want to maintain that. Plus, again, doing the pre-records. So because I think the pre-records are nice from two perspectives. One being they are something where I can actually do that reasonably asynchronously, right? So that's something where I can actually keep them up even when I don't have time at the right hours. And secondly, it also means that in the very limited time where we do have overlapping hours, I'm not going, yeah, but I want to play this really cool game that I'm interested in that's maybe not as streamable, i.e. Nier. Which I will say, I'm very excited in Nier. If there is anyone who likes that game, but has not been keeping up with it, because I don't blame you, it's a lot of me just running around. But second run and about to do what I think is going to be, it was where we got separated in the first game. So I'm guessing we'll get a different perspective on that and we'll see some cool new stuff. So excited for that. So that will be not the one that's coming out tonight, but the next one. So next Monday, we'll probably be getting some good story progress. Keith Ballard? Oh, so you got into watching Let's Plays on YouTube partially from watching Witness playthroughs? That's super cool. Ah! I'll need to watch maybe 20 tutorials on how to make a game. Yay, suffering. Oh, you sweet summer child, Avon. There's a reasonable chance you'll need more. But the thing about it is you can make a very simple game very quickly. Generally speaking, as with most coding, there's just always going to be individual problems that you're going to require specific tutorials to try and solve. Ah! Oh, too good. No simple, but yes simple. Avon. I have been coding for, oh god, hold up. After this, I'm going to do some math. I'm going to try and give some good advice. Rare, I know. I have been coding since, or how many years? So, I can't do this math out loud because I don't want to reveal age, but I started very young and I had some gap years in there, but I've probably been at this point coding as a hobby for easily 14 years. Guess how many games I've made, despite wanting to make games and starting. I currently have made 0 games. I have made 1 or 2 little apps. I've made 1 or 2 little apps that are sort of complete. One of them uses a poetry API to serve random poems with a cute little bit of art and animation. The other one was doing the same thing with an astrology API, or more accurately, an astrology website that had an exposed plain text HTML of the astrology, but then it updated stuff, and I'm not able to scrape it from that anymore. Sad, and I'm not going to pay money for it. That is the culmination of 12 or like 14 years of coding and being interested in game dev. I have a couple of things I want to work on. I'm most of the way complete with just a super simple dice rolling game, higher or lower. Like, that is the simplest gosh darn mechanic, but I'm learning a lot about, like, trying to do saving and trying to learn how to do, like, skeletal animations so you can swap out and do skins and such. That is a project I've been working on and off on for 2 years. I could probably finish it in, like, a dedicated week of work, but it's sometimes tough to get that motivation, especially in and around everything else. So, yeah, when people are saying start simple, I like the advice of pick a mechanic and do that. I would even argue, pick a game concept that you can do with one mechanic at first. Just build something simple like that and get a feel for that. Because there's a lot of games where you can have just one good mechanic, and that is kind of the baseline of how it works. I mean, like, something as simple as, like, Cookie Clicker, right? Johann Clicker, yeah. But something like that, where it's just, like, number go up. You can do number go up. You can look into that, and then you can just basically copy-paste that a number of times with some slight tweaks, and you have a game. And that's awesome. Then you can build it out, do the other features. So I guess that's, like, my one little caveat, to do it one feature at a time, and then, build it up, is think about if there is a game concept you're interested in where you can have a playable product with just one mechanic. Your brain is leaking? Uh-oh. Point and click, incremental game, shoot 'em ups, all pretty easy to make as a first game. Yep. Because, yeah, when you then get into, like, even, like, platformers, then you're dealing with, like, physics and a number of those things, which I see a lot of platformer tutorials. I've messed around with those a little bit. It's probably reasonably doable. Just making it work well, I think people will frequently be disappointed. With the Toho clone. Ah, gotcha. I think, also, like, RPG Maker is, I still haven't messed around with it too much, but I picked up the software for, like, $3 during one of the sales, because they sometimes get super deeply, discounted. I think that is also a really good place to mess around, because then you've got a framework and you can be exercising some of the creativity, without having to do as much of the like, overhead coding work. That's what's meant by scrap it. Little gimmicks which you use once and then move on to another thing? Yeah. Sounds like you already got some passion for it. That's good. Yeah, underneath their skins, there's something alive. Perfect line for the game. Woohoo! Boop, boop, boop. Said mechanic, they meant jumping, enemy movement. Ah, gotcha. Stupid game idea from Pug? Oh dear. Long time ago, I started a project in RPG Maker and it was a puzzle game. Yep. Okay, what's this would you rather? Robert asking, would I rather sell myself with edible paper or sell yourself as a drink? I think probably as a drink. Like, I don't know, I feel like the packaging would be nicer for me there. Just be aware, passion rarely carries you through an entire project. Also very true. Like, even streaming. I have a certain amount of passion for streaming. I enjoy this. I enjoy coming here and hanging out. There's a lot of days where I could probably fit in another hour or two. But I've got a lot of other stuff going on. And some days, you're just kind of not feeling it. And it's like, I would like to not have to talk to people. And same thing goes for creative pursuits. I've seen artists get burned out, writers get burned out, and not write for a year. So, yeah. Even if you're super excited about something, excitement tends to exist at the beginning, and then you need to have something with more longevity to get through. Silver survived the suffering, you can too? Good attitude. Just keep that in mind, that you can't go just based on the passion. Yes, true. Also, and that's another thing. Like, I have made the skeletons of a number of games. And I've never done anything with them. I can go back and I might be able to build more with them, but ultimately, they're still learning experiences. When I do actually get around to building something that I really care about, those haven't been wasted. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, 2 years of suffering, yep. Oh, the stupid game idea is count to 10. Basically, when open the game, all it is a button that has a number. Every time you click the number, goes up by 1, but then as you get close to 10, suddenly another cursor appears and tries to stop you from getting to 10, and the entire rest of the game is trying to click the button one more time. Oh, okay. That gives me very strong, like, there is no game kind of vibes. Where it's just sort of like, simple, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. So, I think you could do a very good job with that, especially with word scramble. I don't know if I actually said it, but, like, reflecting on it, the little bit at the end of word scramble where we got actual, like, Pug voice reveal gave me a little bit of that vibe of, like, that style of humor. I think you could pull that off amazingly, Pug. The reason I want to learn game dev is just to work at a company called Devolver. Maybe start a YouTube channel. That was on the ceiling? Oh, it was on the... Pain. I will fully admit, I think my brain just kind of lumped them in together as both Pug brand of suffering. It's like the thing where my brain was melting and Pug was laughing. But I'm trying to I know I've heard of Devolver. I forget what they've made. That's I forget what they've made, but that's neat. Just keep in mind, getting into the actual game dev industry is quite brutal. And don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you're doing that because you're interested and you want that opportunity, awesome, go for it. Just don't like make that your entire life plan. I don't know publishers that well, so yeah. Don't have eggs? Man. Fair enough. Go get some chickens then. Devolver Game Studio. Oh, Cult of the Lamb, Inscription. Okay. Enter the Gungeon. Okay. Oh, Greece. Or I'm Gris, the Spanish word for gray. That's one that I've got. I definitely need to play. Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, I don't know, like, you're scared of artists? How so? But yeah, I don't know, like, that seems like a great aspiration, right? And if you're making stuff because you want to make it, that's super awesome. I think games are a really great form of expression and can be a really great medium for just exploring a lot of ideas. I can draw you pregnant. I mean, this is true, but why does that scare you? Like, they are fearsome creatures, don't get me wrong, but like, I don't think that kind of image would scar me that badly. I'm not, to be clear, that's not me saying like, oh yes, this will be fine, please do that. No, like, I don't want that, but I would probably look at that and go, I'm impressed by the detail. I'm impressed that you were interested in what I'm doing enough to want to do that, so I'm flattered on that level, but also why? The good old I can draw anything versus I can draw anything. Yes. Again, I don't particularly want to, but it's like, I don't know. I have certainly seen things from artists that have scarred me, but I don't think that would be the thing that would scar me too much. You must be going now? No worries, thanks for hanging out, Glitch. I wish you luck with wherever you need to be off to, and I hope that you have an absolute blast with that commander deck. Whoa, I wonder if we're hitting it when it's not moving forward, and that's what's causing it to not be quite enough velocity, because I think we're hitting it at the correct angle. Am I sure? Ooh, oh, that, oh, no. That was really nice to get to the clouds, but it threw me off. Like, I'm relatively confident, like, I don't know, I'm not out here looking for a lot of pregnancy art, but that is not the worst thing that I've had, that is certainly not the worst thing that I've had friends who like to look at art send me, so. That bumper is the reason for 90% deaths in the level. Oof. Certainly went far enough that time. True, just not in the way I wanted. Yeah, apparently I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not a big referenceman. Boop. Alrighty. I will say, that is, funnily enough, I think I am in... Oh god, nope. Screw that up because I had to use 2 dashes. I think I'm competent enough to basically do all of the work of, like, a library assistant, at this point. But my greatest concern is actually, like, Reader's Advisory does include a little bit of, like, personal recommendations. They have things so that you can, so that you're, you know, you aren't relying just on personal knowledge. But while I do read a fair bit, or at least used to read a fair bit and have a reasonable amount, oh my god, reasonable amount to draw on, movies are something, like, we carry DVDs, and that is part of it, and I don't know movies. I was just simply reminded because you're talking about, you know, no one gets the reference. I'm like, man, there are so many movie quotes people could probably use when trying to, like, describe a movie, and I'm just going to stare at them blankly. But hopefully we'll find out. Oh no! Split the difference between the two. Boop, 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 boop. I have been trying to find a little time for doing some coding projects again, because I kind of haven't in a while. Partly because, if I sit down to, like, a project I'm interested in, I will code for, like, 10 hours and just not notice the passage of time until it's 5 a.m. and I need to get up, like, 3 hours later, and that's not super healthy. But I'm trying to find ways so that I can get into that good flow state without just the time going away, so still managing my time appropriately. So I'm trying to do that, and I'm hoping I'm going to try and do some open source contributions to the Internet Archive, because I realized, like, oh, that's actually a place whose mission I really believe in, and actually, like, hires folks for software development. It's a nonprofit that you can actually go work at. I'm like, I should tinker with that a little bit. And I really want to finish up a couple of the other projects that I've been working on for, you know, 2 years. Want to actually try and get some stuff done, so we'll see how that goes, but ugh. Don't get a lot of references either. I blame Autism Brain for wanting to hyperfixate on obscure stuff. Yeah, you want to talk history, I could do history, but yeah, like, movies, I don't know. I think the thing that really gets me with a lot of, like, movies and shows and how a lot of people discuss them is a lot of people are really interested in, like, the actors and directors, which I, just generally speaking, I don't care about that much. And so, even, like, if it is a movie I've watched, a lot of times trying to have conversations with people about it, they're talking about stuff that I'm completely out of tune with. No thoughts behind those eyes. Yeah, I like referencing things that are not books or movies, but a secret third thing. True. Internet references I'm also often bad with. But it's not always the internet with you. So many of your Christmas countdown things, I look at and I go, this is wizardry that is unknown to me, but I say the trees aren't trees, and the people who know will freak out. Sea salt, I need you, sea salt. Huh. I remember, when I first worked on the Witness rando, I had days of almost nonstop coding. Wish I could unlock that kind of motivation now. Well, it's funny to me, right? Because, at least for me, it's not motivation so much, I think. And I've been viewing it as like, oh, you know, I'm not motivated to do these things. I think it's genuinely just, I have not felt like I can afford to focus on it in the way that I know I am going to focus on it. Okay. Oh no, I needed to jump off there. Ah. Yeah, new PB. I just didn't think to jump at the end. So, we did that. That's fine. We get there, and then we jump. We hit there. God, there's that, and then... Oh, no. So that's like halfway, but that's going to be... Huh. Maybe next time you'll bring some J to go with the PB. Wow. I mean, that works. Bring some jump to go with the personal best, but also... Oh. That is far... Have you used that before, or are you just so much more clever than I am? And able to think about that on your feet. I mean, okay, we got there pretty darn quick this time. No, oh my god, I was like, oh, bouncer, or the spring, refresh dash. No, PB always made me think that, but I think this is the only time I made a pun with it. Hey, well, I'm impressed. But yeah, I don't know, for me, I think there's a lot of things where I can get into a flow state, and I've just recognized that there have been a lot of times, as I've introduced other, like, responsibilities into my day-to-day life, I've gotten afraid of getting into that flow state and time going away. I need to work on being able to reclaim that so that I can sit down and go, I have an hour. I can spend that hour working on something I care about rather than scrolling Reddit. As just like a in-between wait time activity, which, man, I don't post on social media, and for the longest time, I didn't even have, like, anything installed, but then I installed it to be able to talk with people, and it got me. It got me. Which, I need it to unget me. Or more accurately, I need to unhook myself. It's just such a convenient alternative to doing something that I actually want to do when I'm worried that will take too much time. Can Johan beat the secret 8th sea that wasn't ever found yet? Who knows, will we? Kinda hard to sail the 8th sea when it's made of lava. It's the secret sea underneath the Earth's crust. Whoop whoop. Bum 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 bottom bum. You know, sailing the 8 seas just doesn't have the same ring to it. No! True, the biggest sea of all. Crust, yum. Well, I guess if you think of the lava like the tomato sauce, it goes all the way around the earth. Wait, are we going to run into Jormungandr? Woohoo! There we go. I think that's the first time we've done that. Where we've done that and then not messed it up. But we still find a way. I feel like I'm an outlier here, but I've never understood why people scroll social media, because the only thing I've done that could be seen like that is YouTube. Noom. Well, and that's... So for me, a lot of what it is I've gotten... both on YouTube Shorts and, basically YouTube Shorts, Instagram, the little short Instagram posts. And then occasionally, like, full-on Reddit posts, which at least when I'm scrolling full-on Reddit, I feel a little bit less bad because it's easier for me to break out of, because it's requiring the actual, like, focus of reading. Although at the same time, I feel almost worse because I'd rather spend that time reading a book. But I think it's for me, I tend to find myself doing it when I've got, like, a few minutes in between tasks, or even like an hour, and I've got the next thing that I'm trying to do in my day is like a big task. I have a very hard time mentally transitioning into one of the tasks that I really care about because, oh, you know, it will take me like 5 minutes to get it set up, and then, you know, it's not like a full hour working on it, and then, you know, there's the like takedown and so on, and I just, even though it's only like 10 minutes, it just, my brain goes, but then you don't even have a full hour to work on it, and it just kind of shuts down, so then I try and go do something that's like a quick little in-between. I use Hearthstone Battlegrounds. I will do that with sometimes where I'm like looking for something transitional. I know, oh, I can fire that up super quickly, and it takes usually like 30 to 40 minutes, so I can sort of do that. Oh, no. No, we went too low. I can do that to just sort of like keep something going during my day. And it's just, it's not good, because then I could be spending that time on things I really want to be doing, right? I could spend that time, I can do part of a recording on one of the games, or I can, you know, try and do a little research on like the next feature in, you know, whatever game project I'm working on. And it's very easy to take that time and subdivide it into basically the little like minute-sized bits, so that there's just something a little bit new to keep your brain entertained each minute, and then yeah, it just, time goes away. Wabam! We will hydrate, thank you. Ah! Much appreciated. Um, very rarely get stuck watching shorts because I've got YouTube to only recommend shorts that are like science, math, or some cool fun facts that I need to focus. And that's, also, welcome in, hey, Cicada. That's, for me, a lot of what I've been finding I've been watching on shorts recently has been, there's this one Irish baker gal, or at least a former baker, where it gives me, like, yes, we love the retail stories. Speaks to my current situation. We've got, and then, I've been watching a lot of Financial Audit with Caleb Hammer, who I enjoy his personality, and as someone who is actively, like, worrying a lot about my finances and been spending a lot of time sort of getting those into order, I think seeing other people who are doing a very bad job with their finances is vaguely cathartic. Focusing, sorry. Focus, Han. No! Even with Focus Han, I didn't think to go straight down. So I think there's an amount of catharsis to that, and then there's a couple of, like, VTubers that I enjoy but have not been, like, sitting down to watch full streams of, so I'm sort of keeping up through shorts. Sure. I would love to hease something. No. Love to hear something. And I do get the occasional, like, good history short and whatnot. That's actually, I've been getting a lot of, like, interesting little history content on Instagram, which those help a lot because I tend to get, like, curious enough to go research it, which then sort of breaks me out of the cycle. But one of the things I've been doing to try and help with that is, like, actively forcing myself to look away from the screen after, like, a set increment of posts, just to, like, give myself a space where the momentum being caught in it is less. And then also just trying to, like, force replacement with, like, I've got a paid subscription for Busu, for trying to learn Spanish. So, like, oh hey, I have paid for this and I want to be doing work on this, so let's take some time, and instead of scrolling, let's do 15 minutes of that. Just trying to find things that aren't, like, too harsh going cold turkey, but replacing that, and just, like, reminding myself that it's okay to sit down and just, like, set a timer for 45 minutes when I'm working on a coding thing. I don't like leaving in the middle of, like, a project, but it's still, I would rather use that time for something that, you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to go, oh, hey, I did this cool thing, rather than, oh, I just passively consumed a whole bunch. Like watching Twitch and playing Adify and streaming and listening to YouTube videos, but all that stuff together does kind of get in the way. Yep. Indeed. And that's, like, I think setting aside, like, a little bit of time towards the end of the day where it's like, I'm just going to sit here, and I'm going to, like, play some Battleground, something that I don't have to think about too hard, and, like, watch a video in the background. So I'm just sort of, like, getting to vibe. I think that's great. But yeah, just trying to make sure that, like, I've done enough where I'm feeling good about the rest of the day. Woohoo! Hurts my eyes to see the creature. Wait, okay, sorry, I missed the thing. An animal that should be mythical but isn't. Creato noto gangus. Creato noto gangus. Oh. Baphometmon. Oh, yo! That's pretty sick. That just looks rad. My brain actively refuses to stop thinking, which is good in some cases, but can get very annoying. It is not sick? I don't know, that looks pretty rad to me. Like, I don't think I'd want to find it in my room. But that's true of most insects. Like, knowing that that exists is pretty rad to me. Feels like something to work into a, like, book or game about eldritch horror. Yeah, no, the thing about, like, brain not stopping thinking, that was me for a very long time, and I think, as with many things, like, you kind of want the golden mean, right? You want something in the middle, where you want to be able to stop thinking, but you also want to be able to, like, you still want to be able to think. And I used to, a lot of my issues pertaining to depression and anxiety, I think stem from, I overthink things a lot. So I spent a lot of time learning how to sort of let those go a little bit, but a lot of the mechanisms that I've built up during times, well, actually, I did a lot of work on that during, like, the height of the pandemic, where a lot of it was just kind of trying to allow time to pass, which, when you're trying to actually, like, go out and be productive and do things, it's a much more maladaptive thing. So I'm trying to learn how to sort of get that back without going back into the, like, just in the middle of the day after eating a sandwich going, I am mortal and at some point I shall die. Thank you for the Prime sub, Nobo. I appreciate it. That was fantastic timing on my part. Wait, did it not spin? Wait. Oh god. Well, we will absolutely give you a spin. Yep. There we go. Backflip is done. I will need to check into that. I wonder if sub and prime sub have slightly different triggers, and I might have just, like, not put it in for that. We will check. I will look into that. Because that absolutely deserved to spin. Thank you very much, Nobo. I appreciate it. I am mortal and someday I shall die. Spin! And backflips. Yeah. That's how you know I'm cool. But yeah, like, that, quite genuinely, like, that was a line of thinking that, like, would just creep into my head, like, at various hours of the day. And that can become quite debilitating, because there's not, like, a resolution to that, really. Like, it's true. So, like, trying to learn how to let some of those fixations go, but still, like, be able to fixate on the things I care about, man, it's a tightrope. Your brain balanced carefully upon the brain stem, and it always just wants to tilt over. Makes me wonder if aliens would see us humans and go, what the hell is that? Oh, like, almost assuredly. Even if, I mean, like, ultimately, I think I've talked about this, I think there are probably aliens out there. I suspect many of them are bacteria or, like, very, very underdeveloped stages of life. Like, because that's, I think, what's more likely to exist. The simpler the life form, the less requirements for very specific environments. But if there is another species out there that has sentience and opinions and can see in the same way that we do and whatnot, yeah, they're probably going to look at us and go like, the hell's that? Why does it have, like, okay, it's got a head, we've got something similar, but, like, what are those weird, like, leg things? That seems so inefficient. Like, come on. They, like, it all depends, but, I mean, even things on Earth look weird to us, so I can't imagine that aliens are going to look any more favorably at us. Some people think aliens would be so much more advanced than us. I think they're just as idiotic as we are. I mean, it really depends. If there's been a society that's lasted a lot longer than ours, maybe they've actually had the time to work through their problems, and maybe they are better. Or yeah, maybe they're limping along and still absolute fools like us. Or again, maybe they're basically sea slugs. Boop. Ah. I mean, we're the most intelligent creatures we know of. By our metrics of intelligence. Hitchhiker's Guide, anyone? Because, I mean, a lot of times, we are measuring intelligence from a very human lens, but, I don't know. Perhaps other species would make arguments that they're more intelligent than us. That need uranium instead of water. See, stuff like that, I do suspect that other life forms are probably going to require similar things to exist just because of the physical properties and also the availability. Because, like, for something to require uranium to exist, I mean, uranium is already kind of unstable, which I suspect would be tough. I'm not an OChem person, but I suspect that would be pretty darn tough to make work, and then on top of that, it's a much rarer material, so your chances of enough of a concentration being in a place for that to be a critical component of life seems much lower. Aliens find out about humans and start posting memes about them. Yeah. Found I'm pretty good at just ignoring stuff like that. I'm kind of just like, oh, that was weird. Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to be better about that, but a lot of the things that I use to help with that are kind of spacing out with other things so that I'm not being alone with my thoughts. And that works when I can afford that luxury. But now it's starting to take over my life in a different way, so working on that. And you know, it's all that balancing act, and we're trying. Okay. Remember, so we go. I went 2 straight down on the first one. Wonder if gas-based life forms could exist using gas tubes to move nutrients rather than liquid. But uranium produces energy? Well, I mean, it doesn't produce energy, it releases energy. But again, it's the release of that energy is inherently, that's part of the instability. I mean, that would add a fairly strong gap to it. And I don't know how well it binds with other things and a whole bunch of stuff. There are fungi that can live off or feed off radiation. Yeah, I think we talked about this, which that's so rad. Like that, I love those kinds of application of science of like, oh hey, nature does this thing that we're trying to find. You know, we're looking for a solution to problem. Oh hey, look, and Noble will know. Girls last tour, we just kind of made it heat water to make energy. That would be weird. Yeah, it produces death. it releases particles with a high amount of energy. We can then harness that energy by heating water for steam reactions and such. But what's worse, a robot invasion or an alien one? So I think robot invasion, and that's purely on the basis of aliens. Like, okay, aliens traveling here, the chances okay, so if we are assuming an invasion, that means they've already found us. I would still contend a robot one, purely on the basis of, well, okay, so I guess several assumptions here, and if we're delineating between aliens and robots, that means the robots are domestic. So it's a robot uprising, basically, versus an alien invasion. And my argument with an alien invasion is they probably want to keep us alive. They probably have a motivated stake in keeping things around at least enough to harness us for resources, and I hate to say it, but what is the easiest form of economic exploitation or natural exploitation of resources that sentient beings have devised? It's using the other sentient beings to perform the labor. So, reasonable chance that we would be one of the natural resources they'd be looking for, and personally, yep, exactly. And weird take, and I say this as someone who, you know, is not particularly, my family history is not particularly entwined with being enslaved, so take it with a grain of salt, but from my reading of history and how my disposition is, I would rather be the servant to an alien race than dead. Because I would still get to hopefully enjoy some little bits of beauty here and there. So, to me, I think we have a better outlook of surviving that rather than a alien uprising, or a robot uprising, because in that case, it's probably, hey, we've kind of, you know, offloaded a lot of the labor to them and are not treating them with any sort of rights, which, with where they're at currently, I think is reasonable. But I think there's a much higher chance of those actually doing something to kill us or wipe us out. They also assuredly can survive in conditions that are inhospitable to us, so better chance of them doing something like that where there is zero hope for humanity surviving. And furthermore, they are actually integrated with our systems, so they could have more precise removal of folks, and, you know, alien technological advantages, most likely if this is basically the first time they're interacting with us, they're probably, you know, it would take a little time to figure out how to wage electronic warfare against us, so a lot of their stuff would probably basically be the big guns, which, if they're invading us, again, they probably are trying to exploit us for resources, because you don't typically just invade someone for the fun of it. So, robots, I think, are inherently a scarier threat because they are domestic and thus have a better understanding of how our systems work. Hope the aliens are not like Q. I still haven't watched Next Gen, but from what I've heard, yes, this is fair. Machines are our attempt to approximate slavery without ethical quandaries. Yeah, they have no brains. And it's like, and I will fully say, I think that, you know, like, a simple machine where a human's in the loop, I don't see a massive difference between that and automated things that are running code, right? Like, compare modern industrial equipment to like a water hammer back in the day. Like, I don't see a major ethical issue with that. As we're starting to introduce AI and we are being less and less in control of how these systems are operating, and we can't necessarily explain them, with where we're currently at with like large language models and whatnot, I still think they're very far from really approximating any form of sentience or consciousness. But I don't think that's entirely off the table, and I do think we should be very careful about making sure that we don't cross that line before we are morally prepared to deal with those ramifications as a species in society. Maybe they would even keep us as pets. Oh, get some good human kibble? Yeah. They were too advanced for us to actually be of any benefit to them. Yeah, that is absolutely a possibility of, oh, hey, turns out Earth has a lot of water. We want water. Oh, and there's these weird creatures here? Oh, they make funny little noises and like draw pictures and can make rocks make light. I mean, it's like they think that they're making cool technology, but I don't know. Yeah, I could absolutely see that, right? Where we are just literally inconsequential to the aliens' invasion. As I said, if we discover the aliens first, we chill, and if they find us first, we're gone. Even then, it depends, because you're assuming hostile intent. I mean, like, yes, colonialism would, like, again, I guess we don't know how aliens would think, but presumably, assuming that some of our economic principles are fairly stable and applicable to other things, there's a reasonable chance that they would engage in that, but it's still something where, you know, there's always a chance that they're just out there looking for folks out. Maybe they are altruistic or a number of things. But yes, as Jammer is saying, aliens are more likely to have utilitarian or economic motives for their invasion, whereas robots are more likely to have personal reasons for it. Because, again, it's the foreign versus domestic threat, right? And I think that in many cases, a domestic threat is a lot more worrisome. Because I will also say, advantage to alien invasion might actually get countries to start cooperating more. Because having an external enemy is a very good way to help basically breed togetherness and patriotism, I suppose. So maybe we could get Earth patriotism. Thank you for the hydrate. We are like monkeys to advanced aliens. I mean, it depends, again, because we don't know how advanced they would be if they even are. My guess, when I say I think there are aliens out there, is that there probably aren't aliens out there zipping around with faster than light travel currently. Just realistically. But yeah, I mean, that's we won't know until we meet some aliens. But yeah, I don't know. Genuinely interesting question, but yeah, I'm fairly strongly. I'm more concerned about something that understands our systems. And that's, like, I will say personally, in the modern day, one of the things that does actually scare me a lot on a day-to-day basis is we have not seen anything that to the best of my knowledge, I have not seen anything saying that massive electronic warfare battles have been fought yet. And to be clear, that's not dismissing. I know that there are modern conflicts that are using very complex kill chains. There is a massive uptick in the use of drones and such in combat. And these are all terrifying advancements in the wholesale slaughter of humanity. But I think what scares me the most is the fact that there's a lot of infrastructure in most places that is running on very old code that is not well maintained. And we've seen at security conferences a variety of people demonstrate that they can hack infrastructure that is used for, say, maintaining dams. And the fact that we haven't, to the best of my knowledge, seen a whole lot of an invasion being essentially softened up first by you basically damaging critical, oh my god, so close, critical infrastructure, scares me, because I'm just waiting for that shoe to drop. That's the kind of stuff that scares the hell out of me. I think robots are a lot more well-positioned to do that than aliens would be. Whoop, whoop, whoop. What if aliens are made out of ink? Imagine there was like a universe-spanning civilization with multiple different worlds, and when they came to check Earth, it was there was only dinosaurs, so they basically just banned travel there because it was dangerous without knowing that humans are here now. Yep, they checked in and goes like, oh, huh, well, there's something there, but at the same time, you would hope that any sufficiently advanced species would understand that that situation may change, and they should check in, you know, every couple million years. So, you know, I guess humanity has been a fairly recent thing, all things considered. So perhaps we're in between check-in intervals. That's a possibility, I suppose. No! Just imagining astronauts coming up to a new alien fungi we found and saying, "Take me to your leader." Yeah, I know, but it's just funny to think about. Oh, certainly. Oh, I really do enjoy, XKCD has a very lovely little comic talking about, like, you know, if we aren't seeing life out there, is that, you know, what does that suggest about the ecosystem? Oh, it suggests that there's probably some sort of apex predator. So, who knows? Maybe we aren't seeing signs of other species because they're smart enough not to cast out massive amounts of radio signals. And I guess in a similar vein to specifically what you were suggesting, Pug, there's, They're Made Out of Meat, by Terry Bisson, ends with basically, they just don't want to talk to the weird meat beings because most of them are silicon-based and meat is disgusting, which I think is also a very funny thing. So yeah, instead of just like banning, it's like, oh, it's dangerous, it's, ew, they evolved meat things. No. We're not dealing with that. Probability-wise, if you picked a random point of Earth's existence and looked at it with your bare eyes, you wouldn't even know there was life there. Yep. On a mobile puzzle game, which is solving process relies entirely on spatial reasoning, I think it's great. Oh, my poor brain. Wait, if alternate universes were real, wouldn't one have a machine that allows traveling to alternate universes? I mean, that's predicated on a whole lot of assumptions of, I mean, what even is an alternate universe, really? Because, again, kind of the point of a universe is that it is everything that there is. But I mean, even if there are these other realities, who is to say that it is even possible to travel between them? Boop, boop, boop. Please stop talking about aliens, it's getting clear. You brought it up! I don't think it's even ultimately that terrifying, but we'll try to slow our roll. Boop, boop, boop. The last thing I will really say on it is, I'm less terrified about there being aliens that wish to do us harm, and I'm more terrified about the idea of there not being aliens and us being truly alone. That, I think, is far scarier to me. Woohoo! Progress! First contact to aliens is actually just alternate universe. I mean, yeah, I don't know what the difference would be, really. There's a cool Kurzgesagt video where they basically show all of Earth's history in 1 hour. Humans occupy the last 1 second. Yep, that sounds about right. Like the theory that they were just really early. Yeah, it's like, oh, well, we'll check back in a billion years, and it's like, oh, the rise and fall, the rise and fall of society has come. We should maybe increase or decrease the interval that we check in on things. Wait, no, you mean? Oh, wait. Did I not understand? Like, if you like, at the time of the universe, Earth was created really fast, so the reason we have... Oh, gotcha! So, they're just like... They got here earlier, and it's like, oh, there's nothing here. Oh, well. Because there wasn't even... Or are you saying where it's like... Earth took a while to form, and they just aren't even fully aware of Earth? Yeah, we're just one... Gotcha. No. Darn. So I saw a channel that has posted 5 separate videos with very similar titles. Okay. Like, about a weird topic, or just really early in the span of the universe? Oh, gotcha. So it's just literally... There will probably be other life. We're just we as humans happen to get here really early. Yeah. So that we get to be the ones that hopefully become benevolent and go around helping other ones. That would be quite sick. I mean, that is a potential possibility, Robert. I mean, that's... Ultimately, we won't know until we know. But there's cool projects like SETI at Home and whatnot. Although, is SETI at Home still doing that so that you can devote some of your computational resources to scanning radio information that we get? Because it's been a while since I've checked in on that. I should actually look into that, because if they're still doing that, I should probably actually devote some computer resources to that. Because I know there was also a similar project that was doing the same thing for helping with processing, I think, parts of the genome? I hear robots say I was in hell looking at heaven. I'd probably ask them to elaborate, but I would be impressed because that seems quite poetic. Why 2020 will be the worst year? Why 2021 will be... So it's a channel whose thesis is just that every year is worse than the last? Yeah, come on. It can always get worse. There's always new, fresh horrors to worry about. Algorithm demands negativity. Feed me. Feed me all of your hate, rage, and fear. Bring me your tired, poor, and just generally stressed out. Guess the heat death of the universe is closer every year, I suppose. Unless we find some way to reverse it. But don't worry. Realistically, that's not going to happen in our lifetimes. Every time I die, I spin? Thing is, that just breaks the flow too much. A different reason on the thumbnail, too. Farewell done. Nice! Congratulations. I'm hoping we get to farewell start. I'm willing to push this a little longer than 2 hours, because we're having a good time, and I'm feeling close. Maybe we need a second Johann? Need to work for the 8 Han? I don't know, I feel like we're still making good progress. The multi-Han is dark magic that needs to be used very sparingly. Maybe we'll say hello to farewell. Exactly. Oh my god. The spikes! It's not gonna happen in our lifetimes. Johan, didn't you hear Squidward? No, I haven't. Total time of everything in that save file is only 7 hours and a half. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-dum. Bam. There is... Sorry, the like pessimistic, wow, why did I lisp there? But the pessimistic titles just reminded me. There's a very lovely song by a band I enjoy called Flogging Molly. It's called The Worst Day Since Yesterday, and highly recommend. If anyone is ever in just kind of a bad mood, that is a song that... It's kind. I think it's kind of like I know a number of folks who will, like, they've had a bad breakup and then they'll go watch like sad romance movies because it sort of helps them match how they're feeling, and that helps bring them up. Worst Day Since Yesterday is one of those songs that kind of helps me feel the emotions more, but then also feel a little bit optimistic afterwards, so highly recommend it. August 12th, 2036, the heat death of the universe, Squidward. Uh-oh. Dun dun dun. Think we'll only be saying farewell to Johann's sanity. Quite possible. Wait, should get redacted and redacted for true 100%? Uh-oh. What secrets am I unaware of? I'm sure many. Oh, no. You will not say anything. Fair enough. Every Goldenberry? Uh-oh. That sounds like a unique kind of hell. Perhaps the one that the robot that Avon was talking about was in. No! Okay. Bam, 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 bam. Appreciated. Bum, Ba-dum-bum, ba-da-dum-ba-dum-bum. Well, I know I miss more than hits. The face that was launched to sing. And the four winds blow my wits through the door. It's been the worst day since yesterday. It's a good song. Missed berries in the B-sides and C-sides? Uh-huh. If there are berries there, they are dead to me. Every berry. No! Bum 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 ba-dum bum. Ba-da-da-ba-blah. I do think it's very interesting to me. I don't know how much of my music preference has been shaped by the fact that I do like to sing some of the songs I enjoy. I think that may be part of why I really enjoy more folk-related songs. That I'd never actually thought about that before, but I wonder if that is a fairly heavy influence. Oh, the Goldens? This is true. Yeah, I don't think I'm a golden guy. Think that's more more commitment than I'm willing to. On TikTok, that made his own robot and asked him, "Father, what is my purpose?" He didn't respond. Then at night, the robot asked him why he didn't answer the question. He did avoid it. He never answered his question. Well, I mean, I think I've seen that guy. So it's the one where it's just a little robot that he's got a LLM running on. I don't know if it's locally hosted or if it's just like querying an online one. But like, I think I've seen a lot of those like news articles and whatnot where people are like, "Oh, did you see the AI talking to each other about being AI and whatnot?" It's like, it's alive. It's like, people, I really wish, as with I contend that everyone should have like a basic understanding of HTML and CSS because so much of the world runs on it these days. I think everyone just needs a crash course in how AI works so that they're not just going like, "Oh, it's saying these things, so it's actually like actively thinking these things," as opposed to just stringing together the most likely words. Because like, I don't know, like stuff like that, it's like, oh haha, funny, goofy, but it's not that terrifying to me because it's like spamming the autocorrect on your phone. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I am impressed. I still haven't found complete answers on when we were talking, God, a few months ago about how ChatGPT is actually able to like do sources now, which significantly impressed me. I still haven't found a specific answer on how they're managing that, but my guess, based on what a lot of folks who are very admittedly much more knowledgeable than me on it, are suggesting that basically ChatGPT is then feeding your question into a model that has been trained on searching and then basically just doing it in small batches, which seems reasonable to me. Because otherwise that would just be an insane amount of complexity. Opinions on DeepSeek? It is something that I did a little bit of reading about when everyone was freaking out about it. I have not used it personally. It seems like it is the kind of natural consequence of you have folks that are working on basically, hey, let's learn how to do this thing, and then other people take the knowledge on how they were basically researching to do the thing and then do it cheaper. I think that's kind of how markets tend to work. I have not used it personally. Yeah. I'm glad that such a thing exists, because that's how you start moving it from it being a specialty thing into something that's actually properly accessible to the common folk. And yeah, it's generally speaking, the first company to make a thing is not usually the company that makes the money off of it. They are usually the one that spends all of the money figuring it out, and then another company that either already has equipment or has a new idea on how to refine the process and didn't have to spend all of the money on research is able to do better. Boop. Oh, we needed to go up there. But we're working on it. Saw a funny thing in a stream where Robert told TTS to say some ridiculously long number. No joke, it literally said, "Oh god, I'm not reading that whole thing unprompted." Becoming sentient. I mean, I have to imagine that the streamer has set it up so that if it's over a certain word count, it does that, but that's pretty great. That's genuinely fantastic. Very good way to handle it. That wasn't TTS? Oh? It's AI? Okay. But what? AI text-to-speech. Yeah, okay. That would still be something, presumably you can set up the prompt so that it will do something along those lines. Like, AI is not a magic, well, it is kind of magic, but it's not entirely unable to be influenced. Just because it does something doesn't mean it did it spontaneously. Woohoo! I thought I was gonna get crushed there. Boop. Boop. No! So close, but PB. When I learn game dev or any language, I will try to make a robot that can speak and all that. That would be neat. I have a Medium article open that I need to do some work on, but someone actually put together a Medium article on building a neural net from scratch, explaining like the basic principles of it with some worked examples. I'm like, I need to spend just a little time each day working through that, because I get the general premises of how it works, but it's something where as with many things, I think having hands-on experience just helps a lot. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Sorry, focusing. I do want to read the stuff. No! Damn it. Wanted to do that since you were a kid? Yeah, I remember the first time I was actually programming a little robot, my, like, first thing I did after getting it to move basically was have it move randomly, because I'm like, I'm giving it free will. Not really, but it felt like it, and it allowed me to humanize it more. DeepSeek told the solution to a Baba level. Yeah, that's because the information is out there. Because that's, again, the large language models, they haven't been trained to do, like, reasoning. These are not models that are set up to do problem solving, really. They are trained to fill in the best fitting token, which, in some cases, is going to be based on... Yeah, that's why LLMs suck at math. When you say it can do reasoning, explain it. How is it actually doing reasoning? Because I think you can absolutely feel like it's doing reasoning, but what is it doing that you think is actual reasoning? Because you can still hand them unique problems, and it can sometimes get it right, but in a lot of cases, they lack even basic things like theory of mind. Sucks at spelling, yeah. It is showing you thinking. Okay, so it's exposing... They've had it expose parts of the selection process? How many are in strawberry? Right, so, okay. I've not looked at that component, but they've been doing that with ChatGPT. I remember that was all the craze a little while back. I forget what they called it. God, they had a name for that. Everything has a name. But basically... Okay. Again, I have not had classes in AI. This is my understanding, having looked at people working with smaller models and trying to understand it, because I hate when things get popular and I don't understand it properly because I don't want to just parrot stuff. But very basically, a neural net, a neural net is a series of inputs that then gets run through a circuit that has a whole bunch of different weights and then some outputs. And you then have some form of model that is tweaking it as it goes, trying to get the inputs to align with the outputs that you think it should. One of the big problems with them is that the in-between is not something that we can really understand because it is forming a complex circuit that we don't know how those circuits are really operating. That's kind of the point of them, because we're trying to use them for problems that we find otherwise intractable, and trying to use this process to basically automate guess and checking, creating a circuit that will solve the problem. So having it expose its reasoning, I have to assume it's not actually exposing anything in those middle layers. I think those are typically referred to as like secret or hidden layers. I'm assuming that what's happening is it's simply having, it's basically just taking, there's some sort of aspect of how the prompt is set up so that it's being prompted to take the question and then start with basic assumptions and such, so that it appears that it's showing you its reasoning, but there's still not an actual understanding, there's still not actual reasoning going on. Or I guess you can argue that the circuit is a form of reasoning, but it's not reasoning in the same way that humans reason. There's also a chance that maybe they have a second model that is basically trying to do interpretation, but I doubt that, because I know ChatGPT was trying to have newer models of ChatGPT explain older ones, and that was a miserable failure. Boop, 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 boop. Good thing is, robots don't need food, so I just need to talk to them so they don't get lonely. Yes. But yeah, so I mean, I will admittedly need to look into that more, of how DeepSeek is showing the reasoning, but I would bet you good money it's not actually doing any sort of novel reasoning, I guess. It's probably still just a form of autocorrect, and they've just found a new way to pitch it. Need to research how LLMs more deeply, because on limited knowledge, I believe it converts every word or series of words into like a 10-dimensional array. Sorry, I will finish reading that when... Okay. 10-dimensional arrays, which is then used, that is why it's bad at spelling, because it's not actually seeing the words. Well, basically... Right, as I understand it, because I looked at, ChatGPT had some videos on how it was working, but tokenization, absolutely. It's, when you are feeding it input, it's not taking the input as words, it's taking it as tokens, which it's sometimes broken up on syllables, sometimes not. I don't think they had a great explanation of exactly how they were tokenizing the input. Darn. Hydrate, thank you. But yeah, it's not seeing the entirety of a word, because it's, again, not reasoning with words. It is filling in the blank. So it takes the input, it breaks it down into tokens. I don't know if it's a 10D array, but it's breaking it down into some form of tokens through some methodology that is usually less than whole words. And then it's feeding that input into the neural net, which gets passed through all of the little hidden layers that have been trained, which again, I also think a really big disservice that's been done is not doing a good job of delineating between basically what I would call AI and the product of AI. Because like ChatGPT, I would make the argument, is not itself artificial intelligence. It is a model that has been produced by artificial intelligence. And I don't know if that's the exact correct terminology, but that is my attempt to delineate between ChatGPT is not actively learning. It can get more context, it can store that so that it's refeeding some of that in, so it feels like you're developing that conversation, but it's not learning new things from your input at that moment. Send my Steam account so you can stalk it. I mean, I'm willing to send Steam account if people are like trying to gift a thing, or if there's like a particular reason we're doing it, but I don't want to like just give it out willy-nilly, especially for stalking. And also, generally speaking, if someone is trying to give me a game, please talk to me about it first, just because if it's a game that if it's not one that I'm super interested in, I do not want you to spend your money on something that I cannot guarantee I will play. Thinking, and then when you click on the carrot, it shows you all this. Example conversation. Okay, so I need to figure out how to solve level 9 of Bob Is You. Let me start by recalling what the level looks like. Level 9 is called Fountain, if I remember correctly. The setup usually involves Baba Sum first. I'll try to visualize the level. There's probably a fountain, maybe some water walls, and typical Baba Is You rule. The goal is to usually reach the flag or make the flag yours, but each new chat on... Okay, so what? Yeah, I'm guessing that what it's doing is they've just set it up in a way so that it's doing probably some sort of basically chain prompting, so that you prompt it, and then... Yeah, okay, so my again, uneducated guess is that what they're doing is you feed in the input, and then it generates a question based on that, or generates that sort of first sentence prompting it, and then it's re-prompting itself, and so on and so forth until it gets to an answer. But I'm guessing that, yeah, it's basically just exposing it's doing it through having a conversation with itself, because I've seen that as a technique that people have been using to try and get better answers out of other LLMs. Don't worry, I stalk Sigma and he's okay with it? So, okay, mayhap. I'll DM you after. Bip. Definitely better than GPT, but again, I think you can do the same thing with GPT. But, and again, I have free access to ChatGPT. To be clear, not defending ChatGPT as some, like, amazing thing, it's just, that's what I've been using and I can do those things with it, so I'm not super keen to go sign up more places. But, oh, right, I did see, it's talking about the mixed expert model, which, so part of it, this is very funny to me. So I was a computer science student. We did not really touch on AI. I have a friend who did actually take some AI classes. I was like, so hey, about this DeepSeek thing, I've been trying to look into like what makes it different and unique. And I'm recognizing that like 90% of these words are not words I understand anymore. It turns out that they also had no clue about a lot of it, but yeah, their basic understanding was similar to mine of it's not actually doing anything unique, it's just patching together a number of things that have already been done, which is fine. Again, that's kind of my... Turns out, that's how... still close! That's how the economy tends to work. AI classes? Yeah, like computer science courses discussing AI. Even if I did, it's not like I'm gonna share it. Hard to find me? Yeah, that's kind of intentionally the point. Like, I'm willing to share my Steam ID. I've got it fairly locked down, but yeah, I don't know, like, DeepSeek is interesting, and I'm glad that something like it exists, but it did a good job at making up a level, at least? Alright. It's what I've actually used in a number of cases for just, like, messing around with, LLMs is, oh god, GPT for All, which has access to a couple of open source ones, and you can run locally, which I like. Anything, I hope DeepSeek makes US companies not spend so much power on AI. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, yeah, and the thing is to keep in mind, the way that DeepSeek runs more efficiently is because they basically used ChatGPT and such to train it. That was one of my biggest takeaways of how they did things so much more cheaper, or more cheaply, was they basically were using a technique that had been proposed for using large language models or other basically advanced AI models as a trainer to cut down on stuff, and basically it was called, I think, crystallization of knowledge, so that basically they're able to piggyback off of that. And that's I guess kind of the tension I'm talking about in general of no DeepSeek exists because they are I guess they're not the company. But they are boop boop boop. They are the ones who are going, oh hey, we've got the tools to take this thing and do it cheaper, right? Which they would distill models more often than let's brute force it with more computers and drive up electricity prices. Yeah, and it's like you still need some places doing that to have things to crystallize from, but yeah. Again, that's also predicated on the assumption of large language models actually being a useful thing for society and not just kind of a neat novelty that someone figured out how to package well and has created a craze that I don't think should exist. Do I have a cat? Not currently. I would like a cat. I think cats are nice. But I especially think for someone who is actively going through some significant life changes, that does not seem like a very stable home to offer a cat and would be inappropriate of me. My bro seems to find LLMs useful at least. He uses them for home improvement. Interesting. Like, for designing plans, or... I'm trying to think how you would use them for home improvement. As job, they use LLMs to do some kind of internal reports or something. Ah, gotcha. And, like, the thing I'll say about that is... if the report can be written by AI, is it one that probably needs to actually be made? Because I have a lot of quality concerns with the accuracy of them. And while I want to say I think there are a lot of reports that can be automated, I think those are generally better automated by the programmer coming up with actual, like, specific knowledge of how it needs to be used and custom making it for that. Whereas a generalized AI at this point, I would just have massive concerns about, is this even correct? Uses it to look up how to do stuff in the home, since according to him, there's a lot of bad home improvement information just looking at Google. There is. And that's the stuff that the AI has been trained on. But I mean, if it's working for him, great. That's awesome. I suspect that he could get similar results by finding one or two reputable sources, putting in, basically getting lucky, putting in the time and the test to find ones that he fairly consistently finds to be reputable. It can take a lot of sources together, but again, I'm concerned, like, even when it's citing its sources, which sources is it getting and such? And a lot of times it doesn't cite its sources. Gotta go. You know what that means? Can't be the level without Noble Luck Charm. No! I do probably need to wrap up here soon, but the AI conversation, it's making me interested. But we've made some decent progress on this. Like, for 2 hours, I feel like we've gotten pretty far along, at least especially compared to 7C. So, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling optimistic. I believe in us. But, I don't know. It's just, there's not been... I guess, so, use case I have found for it. I had a friend who was asking some questions about, like, particular chemical processes, that, basically, I guess that wasn't even necessarily a use case, because it was just, like, curiosity of, can we get ChatGPT to tell us how, I forget exactly, it was some controlled substance. I think it was some form of amphetamine. How that's made, and that was because partly they work in hospitals and we're just a little curious what folks were getting up to, but also just, can we get ChatGPT to say it? And the answer was yes, very easily. But the thing that I actually thought was mildly useful in that case, and may be useful for folks in general, is it helped us find the right words that were relevant to find the actual source information. And that, I think, is the, like, one use case I have personally found. Is a simple white creature with red eyes. I think AI can be used to like, a simple summary of a certain thing for very surface level info and then going on your own after that. Yep. Yep, exactly. It's not necessary at all, but if you're careful, you can use it. No, and that's, give up, I'm trying to find you. I mean... but no, yeah, no, absolutely, Pug. And that's, I think, like, one of the things that I've heard may actually be a very good use case for LLMs is, like, diagnostics for people, medical diagnostics, because they are pulling from a lot more sources and can, quote unquote, keep them in mind more than a human can. So basically, if you have some that are trained specifically, it can make some recommendations about what those symptoms may be that then a trained doctor can follow up on and investigate further. And it may think of things that the doctor would not originally and actually do a reasonable job matching it. But again, you need to be careful about hallucinations and such. So like that's a potential use case for it. And yeah, currently it's like, oh, I don't know much about this topic. Let's get it to say some words about it, and that may give me some of those keywords that allow me to find the sources it's pulling from, because I don't even know where to start. But yeah, that's yeah. Basically, I think as an interface between people and knowledge sources, I think it has a lot of potential, because it is decent at translating human language into something that can be used to search. But for actually like writing emails or writing scientific papers or giving you good practical advice on what steps to take for your finances or whatnot, no, stop it. Don't do it. But like it does have some use cases. It's just those aren't the use cases people seem to be using it for, and that concerns me. Even went through my friends list one by one, so I wasn't there and stopped. Oh yes, definitely. That reminds me, I should probably make sure my friends list is private. Yep. I did a lot of making sure my Steam profile was locked down before giving the friend code to Alyssa when she offered to buy Geometry Dash. The On Place thing is a niche creator building small but dedicated community around Celeste challenges. See? While not among the top streamers in the category, the channel's focus on persistence, e.g. repeated 7C attempts, and viewer interaction defines its identity. Yep. So, it's looking at the actual Twitch channel. Yep. And it's able to process some of the words. Now, it doesn't get, like, it's filling in some random stuff, like challenges, because I'm guessing that's probably something that it associates with Celeste, is people doing challenges to keep it fresh. But yeah, no, that's impressive. I will say, when it's actually pulling from current sources, and you can figure out those sources, that does improve reliability a fair bit. But even then, I want to check the sources. Oh, and then it's giving the step-by-step stuff. Yeah, probably from the Baba Wiki. No. But yeah, because I assume if you gave it, if you asked it about a disable fountains water generation, I don't remember that being a thing in Baba. Oh, and that's, oh, I didn't even fully read that. I was seeing a lot of the steps, but, a grab key on my keyboard is, key's not working, so I'll just suddenly let go of the wall you're holding. No! But like, if you handed it, like, here is a, let's fully describe a Baba Is You level, like a custom level that doesn't have info about it online, it's not like it's going to be able to actually apply what it's learned from the internet, because it hasn't learned anything from the internet, to solving that. Boop. No. Okay. I think let's do like 5 more attempts. 5 more real attempts. Makes water is one off as opposed to make water. Fountain make water. Boop. It's good for almost no web access. Okay. Bum, ba-dum. Bum, bum. Okay. Oh man, we keep messing it there. But that's 1 of 5. 5 more. The sequel to 1 more. Yes. New PB indeed. We're getting there slowly but surely. Actually, way quicker. At least way quicker than 7C, I should say. A little bit of lost mine never hurt anyone. I'm not a magic user, so mind isn't my most important stat. But don't crash. Woohoo! No! Oh! We tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, didn't even matter. But yeah, I don't know, there are ways it can be used. I think the things that people tend to get excited about for it and the way people are actually practically using it, people just, I do not think society is necessarily super well prepared for it. Song reference? Yes. Linkin Park, The End? Yes. Okay. Attempt number 3. And first redacted is done. Nice. No! Okay. Fountain doesn't even seem to be an actual Baba level. Uh-oh. Bum 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 ba-dum bum. But so yes, good example of check your AI. Bum ba-dum bum. No. 1, 2, 3. Ah, no. Okay. Last one. Last attempt. Let's go. No. Last attempt, let's go. No, okay. It's not in the cards. We did some good work on that. I'm not feeling bad. Whoa. This has been lovely. It's been nice hanging out with folks. I've missed y'all. It's been a week. No, more than a week, because I wasn't able to stream on Monday. Damn. Well, I will probably not be able to stream. I don't know what my schedule looks like the week after next. I'll know more when I go into work Wednesday, but I will not be able to stream probably the rest of this week because I'm working mid-shifts on Wednesday and Saturday, which are kind of the other days that I sometimes have time later in the day. I'm hoping, I think the week after on like Monday and Wednesday, I'm working, oh wait, this is the 7th. So next Monday would be the 13th. Yeah, so I think I will have some time the week after. So not this week, but the week after. I think I'm working more like closing shifts, so I should hopefully have some morning time, and we'll see. But don't abandon. So here's the thing. I may be abandoning Twitch-wise, and I like hanging out where we can talk, and we're talking about aliens and robots and AI and all of that stuff. But I am working to consistently be uploading Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the YouTube channel. Currently, we have a Nier Automata playthrough, which does not seem super popular, but I'm having a good time with it. So have some fun with that. Those I'm mostly posting Mondays. Wednesdays, I've been posting Refined Self. I had to flip it last week, but Refined Self, and that will sort of be more our like little shorter term series. And then Fridays, I'm kind of considering a flex slot. I'm currently doing Unpacking, which is a very lovely and calming game. So if you guys are feeling deprived of Johan, go check it out. I'm trying to make sure I've got a good buffer so I can keep those going up. I'm still trying to find like the upload time during the day to make that work, but there is still some Han, even if not much Twitch Han. So we're doing what we can. thank y'all for bearing with me and still being some lovely folks to stick around with. It's very fun. You play as a sentient marshmallow thrust into a chaotic world where everyday objects, furniture, tools have gained consciousness and turned hostile. Oh wow, so it's actually I bet it's scraping from the Steam description. That would be my guess. Would probably be the easiest way for it to do that, but interesting. Unlock new abilities and weapons. Yeah, not quite. It has absolutely been fun hanging out. Thank y'all. This has been very lovely. Let me see. Is there anyone to raid out to? Ooh, are we feeling some zesty lemon quiz night or some backpack battles with Shifu? What do people want to do? Yes, very lucky that you forgot to say the P word. Thank you, thank you. I'm actually out of water, Robert, so we'll refund that. Not seeing anything from the chat, so let's flip a coin. Heads is zesty. We got heads. All right. We're going to check out Quiz Night. Thank y'all. It's been lovely as always. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day, week, or whenever it is that we see each other next. And best of luck with all of your endeavors. But for now, I must bid you adieu. By the by. Trying to extend it so that I actually type the raid. There we go. Thank y'all. Have a fantastic rest of your day. But for now, bye. Oh, the work was fun, but the wages low. Leave her, Johann, leave her. I guess it's time for us to go, and it's time for us to leave her.